Hey everyone, I just want to give everyone a bit of an update. We moved houses as well as locations, so basically where we live now is nowhere near where we used to live. We're fairly rural now, not super rural but fairly rural. Here in the background there's a car there. Every now and again we get a few cars up the road. We moved for the very simple reason that society is just going absolutely haywire. With COVID, with governments, with what's going on with everybody out there, we moved simply to get away from crazy people, literally. Unfortunately, the move has created a few little issues. We now have problems with hosting the server, which was unforeseen. I was told originally that we wouldn't have any problems, that I'd be able to get a static IP address and everything else. Telstra internet over here, which is partly government owned. I think it's 51% government, 49% private corporations. So government own most of it. They do have a thing where you can pay an extra $10 a month and you can get a static IP address, and I've had that for a long time, but through 4G, 5G, mobile broadband services, it's the only service that they don't offer a static IP address on. There are other issues as well. Telstra actually have a reasonably complex proxy server that they run. So anyone that is on the mobile broadband service, the static IP address that is set on the proxy server is not the same IP address that you get set on your mobile broadband device. So you're behind a proxy server and all that sort of thing as well. For those that don't know, that means there's issues with what's called port forwarding. Now in a server, you need certain ports forwarded from your external IP address to your internal IP address, and that's all got to be done through your router. So that's what's called port forwarding, and that allows people on the outside, people from the internet, to be able to browse your server on port 80, port 443, which is HTTPS, port 80 is HTTP, and there's other services that also use different port numbers as well, like SMTP, which is 25, and so on and so forth. Last I looked up, there was something like 65,532 port numbers. It's a int 32, so there is a limit on how many port numbers you can have. But anyway, that's the short story of what's going on. We simply don't have the ability at the moment to be able to host the server because of several different reasons. Number one, we can't get a static IP address. Number two, even if I did have a static IP address, we wouldn't be able to forward the ports, port 80, port 443, through to my server because of the proxy server, which is in between us and the internet. So there's a couple little problems. That's why we're offline and have been offline for a long time. When I bought this service, I bought a modem, which I was told by the sales representative that yes, I could have a static IP address, and yes, it wouldn't be a problem to port forward the port 80 and port 443. Unfortunately, salespeople don't always tell you the truth, and most people out there these days do know that, but it comes back again to why we decided to get out of the rat race. Basically, the rat race is not safe for any normal human being anymore. Humanity, unfortunately, is going down a path that is undesirable for most human beings, and most human beings can either see that already and have moved out of the rat race, or are seeing that and trying to move, or some of them unfortunately are trapped in in the lifestyle choices that they've made, and some unfortunately are extremely happy with these choices that they've made and extremely happy to shall we say prey on other people to get themselves ahead. It's probably the best way to put it. It's absolutely beautiful out here. I absolutely love it. Family loves it. Everything's worked out pretty well other than the few little issues that we've faced. And I feel really bad that it's cost us the websites and stuff. It's been something I've worked on for a long time. The websites I'm extremely proud of. To give you a little bit more information on the websites, we run some pretty high-level enterprise software on the server that I run. It cost me a lot of money to get it up and running the way it is, and it's not a typical hosting package. It's not a hosting package that you can just go and pay $150 a month or whatever it is to host. It's not a Linux server. It's just not going to run on that sort of server. Anyway, so that's pretty much where we're at. At the same time, I don't want to lose control of the server. I don't want to have all of our data on a cloud machine and then someone turn around and say, oh, we're going to deplatform you because you've broken our rules, you're not following our specific guidelines that someone's just made up in an office 5 minutes before. So I don't want to go down that path as well. It's really just pointless. We're just going to lose information and so on and so forth. Close members of AboveUnity.com are on a private forum. It's an invite-only forum, as some of the other forums out there are. And those members have stuck together, and we're still working on the technology. We are still improving, and so on and so forth. So close members are still doing that, and I'm extremely proud of those members that have done that. I'm not sure whether naming those members is a good idea at this stage, but I just want a big shout out to those members, and they know who they are. So thanks guys, really appreciate your efforts, really appreciate your help. It's awesome to see. There's been all sorts of claims, posts made on overunity.com by the same old people. It's a bit funny to go through and read them, but if you want to, you can go and read some posts and stuff on overunity.com. Some genuine members are posting genuine posts, and then other non-genuine members, or at least non-genuine researchers, posting all sorts of speculation that's just simply not true. I've put a post there, but unfortunately Stefan has still got my account under moderation. That has happened since the last time all the trolls rushed in and made all sorts of claims and abuse and all that sort of thing. And again, Stefan, he just seems to stick with that same small crowd of people, and doesn't matter what anybody else says, he goes by the word of law of a small few, which is a bit crazy. And that's the reason that we started up AboveUnity.com, and that's the reason why it has been so successful, is simply we managed to get rid of entirely those members, which was great. We've had such success. I just want to say, there's a point where you get your machine to where the input that you put in goes down to such a low level that your input power is pretty much reactive. And what I want to say by that, what I mean is that if you put 10 watts into a machine, you get all of that 10 watts back out again as well. It's what's called ping pong power. So ping pong power is reactive power. And normally what happens with that power is normally out of phase. So the voltage and the current are normally 180 degrees, or 90 degrees I should say, out of phase. So your voltage and current would be 90 degrees out of phase, and as one's going in, one's coming back. it's worth looking up that a little bit more. Now that's not the case on these machines. Normally on these machines, the machines are totally in phase. So your input and your input voltage and your input current are normally in phase, true active power, real power. But what happens is the power that you put into the machine comes back out again. We started a thread showing this, showing the machine actually putting out back out to your source, to your input, almost as much power as what it was putting in. And we showed that on a thread called the input coil. Now I just recently posted a post on aboveunity.com, and member Itsu has done a reasonably good replication of what we have been doing, but he's missed several quite major points. So he seems to have sort of stopped where he stopped. He doesn't seem to be interested in moving on any further. So I have posted a video showing, or at least a thread and a video, the thread showing Itsu's 3.2% power return versus another machine, Tin Man's rotary transformer, which was a 68% power return. Now there's a pretty big difference there. Okay, so your input power will drop significantly when your machine's running properly. Okay, you can't expect this first machine to work first time. It's just not going to do that. Okay, some people out there are claiming measurement error, they've got no idea, absolutely no idea whatsoever. So you just need to ignore those people. It's the same people making the same claims time and time again. Bit unfortunate and very damaging to the industry, but that's just the way it goes. There's nothing you can do about that. So anyway, the point of this video, we're still out here. We're still doing what we're doing. AboveUnity.com, the main members, the members that have stuck together for a long time, we're all still together. AboveUnity.com is still a domain that I still own. So it will be back up and running when I get these problems sorted out. But unfortunately, just right at the moment, I just haven't had the time, haven't had the particular things go my way. So we're still working on a few little issues at the moment. It's been nearly 2 months. So we're what was it, 17th of January. So the 17th of this month will be 2 months that we've been down. And remember, it was a server upgrade and it was a move as well that we're supposed to be down for, location change. So it's just the way it goes. This is just how it happens. There's nothing that I can do other than what I already am doing. It's just unfortunate. There's all sorts of theories and stuff that people have come up with. You know, maybe this is a situation that's been orchestrated and organised and planned and all that sort of thing. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. The point, again, of this video is just to say we're all still here. We're all still working on the same technology. It works. We're shown it so many times to work that anybody that claims otherwise is just fooling themselves and fooling anybody else that wants to listen. You know, it's so obvious. It's just, you know, it's easy. When you get to a certain point, this becomes so easy, so simple, that anybody that disputes it really just makes himself look like a fool. I mean, we know for a fact you can go out and you can spend $600 these days on an 8 kilowatt generator. You put fuel in it, the fuel spins the generator shaft outputs your main power, you know, mains power. The power's there. There's nothing in that machine that's rocket science. It's a simple machine. They're made mass made, you know, in factories all over the world, mostly in China these days. So they're there, they exist, The solution to the problem, the solution to everybody's problem, is asymmetry. You've got to look at the symmetry in a machine, and you've got to find, well, what's going to break that symmetry? Broken symmetry. Tom Bedden has told everybody that for decades. It's just not hard. Okay, it's magnetic fields. There's two magnetic fields in a generator, one on the rotor, one on the stator. For a two-pole generator, it's, you know, basically you've got magnetic drag that slows down your rotor. You need to find a way to stop the magnetic drag, or at least to use the magnetic drag in a way that is sufficient to be able to power the load. Okay, so it's not rocket science. It's so simple. Anyway, I probably shouldn't ramble too long on this video. It's really just an update, just to tell everybody what's going on. Later in the evening, we're supposed to get a storm this afternoon, so maybe get a bit more water, fill the pond up a bit, fill the dam up. I just want to wish everybody well. There's a lot of people out there that are nasty, horrible, just really horrible people. There's a lot of people out there like that these days. There's nothing right in what those people do. The solution to the world's problems is education and hard work. Now, we've provided all of the information that anybody needs, and we've done that for a long time. Some people have jumped on the bandwagon, some people have learnt, and some people have done the hard work, and those people have seen results. And like I said, asymmetry. Once you break the symmetry, and the more that you break symmetry, the better off you are. Okay, a transformer is symmetrical. You load the output, the input goes up. It's symmetrical. The ampere turns end up being approximately the same between the output coil and the input coil. Okay, so you might have maybe 1 amp at 240 volts on the input. On the output, you may have I don't know. You know, let's do the math. You know, 12 volts at 20 amps. But if you work it out, and if you measure it, the ampere turns is the same between the input coil and the output coil. It's equal and opposite. So there's symmetry there. The symmetry is between the equal and opposite. So find a way to break the symmetry. It's not hard. You only need 3 coils. 3 coils can do it. You can do it with less, but it's much harder. It's easy to do it with 3 coils, and there's a reason for that. We've shown you what to do. Those people that are interested, all you need to do is just read the threads that are still posted on the internet. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages out there with the information that we've shared. Just because we're down at the moment doesn't mean you can't get to that information. There's no excuse. You know, people say, oh, open source it, open source it, open source it. You know what? We have for a long time. And you know what? Lots and lots and lots and lots of people have benefited from that information. The only people that haven't benefited, those people that haven't benefited from the information, those people are the lazy people. Okay? Those people are the people that won't read a thread and then won't do the experiment. So they don't deserve the technology. So go read, go study. The information is so broad out there now. If anyone were to go out and read the document, Nothing is Something, if you take out all the hoo-ha, take out all the non-scientific stuff that sounds fantastic to some people, but take all that out. Okay, at the end of the day, you want voltage and you want current. And it's not hard. It's really not hard. Like I said, 3 coils. Your partnered output coils need to oppose each other. Once they oppose each other with the same magnitude, because remember, magnetic fields have magnitude, okay? The ampere turns is the magnitude of the magnetic field in Orsted's. So study, learn. If you want it, it's simple. If you want it, it's there. Okay, those people that sit and complain about it, they're the people that have never done an experiment in their life and never will do. And there's lots of people out there say, oh, we've got the technology, it's coming soon. But you know what, in 10 years, they'll tell you the same thing. We've got the technology, it's coming soon. You know what, we've shared the technology and people have replicated the technology. And lots and lots and lots and lots of people have learnt from what we are doing and have done. Okay, we've got successes under our belt. Everybody that has come, has read, has learnt, has watched the videos, has studied the material. Everybody that has done the experiments has achieved a goal, and it takes time. You've got to learn it. You've got to progress. You know, I mean, the first car that was ever built, it wasn't a Mercedes, was it? It wasn't a BMW. You know, the first car, Henry Ford's Model T or whatever it was. You know, it started off pretty quaint, pretty antiquated, but we achieved new goals over time. Faster speeds, much more efficient running. You know, you gotta learn little bits and pieces, and then you got to be willing to progress. Take your time, learn, study what you're doing, observe the effects, because that's the key areas. All right, everybody. Yeah, I tend to ramble a bit sometimes, especially in a beautiful place like this. Look, we're still here, we're still around, we haven't completely gone. Some very, very strange things have happened over the last few months. I don't want to go into any details, but you would be surprised if I told you some stories. So keep your wits about you. When you're doing research and studying stuff like that, it doesn't pay to share too much with people that you don't know. If you don't know some people, don't tell them what you've got, is my best advice. Some people are just dangerous, absolutely outright dangerous. So keep your head down, study the material. We're still around, we're still here. I still own the domain. AboveUnity.com will be back when we solve these technical issues. Everything's still 100% intact. The server as I've got it is still 100% running right here, right now. All data's intact, so everything's safe, everything's secure. We will be back when these technical problems have been solved, and I don't quite know how we're going to solve them at the moment, but we will. We'll keep working on it. Alright, everybody, best wishes. Stay safe, stay well, stay researching, and remember, you're the only one that can do it for you. So look after yourself, look after your family.